I'm going to show you how to make chicken enchiladas. This is super easy. You only need a few ingredients like I'm showing you right here. You're going to need chicken, tortillas, diced tomatoes, red enchilada sauce, refried beans, and I did use mozzarella cheese and cheddar cheese. Now I'm using avocado oil to put in my pan while I cook up my chicken. Now I just cut up the chicken into little chunks, that way they cook a little faster, because in the end all of the chicken will be shredded into smaller pieces. Doesn't need to be perfect, I just prefer to shred it into smaller pieces, but if you don't want to, I guess you really don't need to. It's just what I do and what I'm gonna do in this video. So for the next couple seconds, you're just going to watch me cut up some chicken, and then we're going to place it on the stove to be cooked. And then while that's cooking, we're going to get started on the refried beans that are in a can. Now, refried beans in a can are good. Now, are they as good as fresh homemade ones like at a Mexican restaurant? No, but they still are just as delicious. I recommend not paying too much attention to what they look like straight out of the cans, since it's not the most appetizing look, but they are good, and I recommend this brand. You can get it basically at any grocery store. So once you get that out of the can in a pot, you're just going to push it down and kind of mix it all together. Then you're going to put it on the stove, cook it on low heat for roughly 15 minutes, just till everything's nice and warm and cooked. And then once your chicken is all the way done, fully cooked, we're gonna add those diced tomatoes I had, and the diced tomatoes I'm using also have some jalapeno in there just to add a little bit of spice. If you don't like spice, you can just do regular diced tomatoes. Then I'm just putting that in the pot with my chicken, and I'm cooking it for another roughly 5 minutes before I start assembling my chicken enchiladas. And if you want to, you can start preheating your oven to 400 degrees. Now, just before this chicken is done, I'm going to open up my can of red enchilada sauce to put this inside of each enchilada as I'm assembling them, but most of this red enchilada sauce will just be going on top of it. And then in a second here, I'll show you the two cheeses I'm using, sharp cheddar and mozzarella, both bought at Aldi. Now that everything's done, I'm showing you here, I like to assemble it all together, so put everything on my table so it's close by and easy for assembling. Now I get my tortilla, I add some mozzarella, then I'm gonna add some sharp cheddar, and then I just start adding the chicken and the refried beans and a tiny bit of red enchilada sauce, and then I just roll it up into a nice shape. But just try your best to roll it up and not let anything spill out the sides. It's nothing too complicated. And yes, my first one I tried to roll up, I had a little bit of difficult time, but it's okay, it happens. Alright, now you can skip if you don't want to watch me assemble all of them, or keep watching for the next couple seconds of me assembling the other chicken enchiladas. Alright, now that they're all done and rolled up in the pan, we're going to take the rest of our red enchilada sauce and make sure we spread it evenly as possible on top of all of them. You want to make sure that each tortilla is completely covered in sauce, so that way it doesn't cook or get too crispy underneath the sauce. It will keep it nice and, kind of smooth instead of getting crispy. But anyways, just try your best to spread it out as evenly as possible. Alright, and then after all the sauce is on there, you're going to want to start adding some cheese. I add a decent amount of mozzarella on top, probably roughly half a cup, and then I just sprinkle a little bit of that sharp cheddar on top after I'm done with my mozzarella cheese. And then once you're done spreading the cheese on top, you're going to want to take a tin foil and cover the top of it, because when you first put it in the stove and cook it for 40 minutes, you want to have it covered so the top of the tortilla shells don't get too crispy or cooked. And then after the 40 minutes in the oven, you just take your tin foil off and then cook it for another roughly 5 minutes to just make sure the top of the cheese that you put on your enchiladas is completely cooked and melted down. Alright, and this is what your enchiladas will look like fresh out of the stove, completely cooked. Then you'll just want to take 1 or 2 out, put it on a plate, add some lettuce, sour cream, and you're all done. Thank you so much for watching.